corn, blackberry, basil salad. So, remember, enjoy your croissants from Signature Bakery over here, your popsicle from Wonder Band Pop. We're going to be getting started in just a moment. If you're worried about missing brunch, just get a pop mosa from the Prosecco truck over there, Tiny Bubble.
Okay, if you are ready, I'm recording. I'll count you down.
I'm making sure that this is.
Oh, okay, yeah, make sure that works. Yeah.
Testing. Okay.
We got good sound?
I think so. Yeah. I'm not gonna give myself a double chin tonight.
Thank you all for coming down to the Scissortail Farmers Market. My name is Mara Deary. We have in our live chef demo today with Kelsey Farnet from Nourished Roots Company. Thank you all for being here. Kelsey, tell me a little bit about what we're going to be doing today.
Yeah, so today I have a blackberry basil summer salad. Obviously everything here is local ingredients. We're also going to be making some bison burgers from my favorite bison company, Benjamin Lee Bison, as well as roasting up some corn. So it's a great 4th of July themed spread that we have today. I'm also going to be using 3 of my spice blends. So I own Nourished Roots Spice Company, so we are here every Saturday from 9 to 1. And I'm going to be using my Greek today, my Egyptian, as well as my Texas rub. Texas rub is going to be going in the burgers. I'm going to be making a dressing for the salad with my Greek. And I'm actually going to be using the Egyptian on the corn today. But all of my spices are salt-free, sugar-free, so I will be adding salt as I go along. But yeah, that is the plan.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
I also want to remind everybody, I think we're going to be trying some of these things after she's done. So, don't leave too early.
So today the first thing that I did was I took one of our local cucumbers, I sliced it in half, and then I sliced it in half again to get this nice fine chop. What I love about these cucumbers is that they actually have a thinner skin, so it doesn't bite as much and it has less seeds, so it's great for a salad. And then one of my favorite ways to chop some of this basil is to kind of fold it on top of each other and roll it up to get a nice fine shred.
I like that. It makes little ribbons that way.
Makes it a whole lot easier to spread in there. I actually got the idea of this salad based off of a margarita. So they had a blackberry basil margarita and it sounded amazing. So I decided to make it into a salad. I already know what you want.
And that cucumber, I think that's what they call like an Armenian cucumber, right?
Right,
okay.
Exactly.
Those are super cool looking.
And then I'm also going to be adding some sunflower seed shoots. So this is basically what the beginning of a sunflower would look like. And you probably didn't know that you could eat these. But what it does is it adds a really nice crunch to the salad and it adds a ton of micronutrients. There's a lot of protein by weight in these little guys. So I love adding little extra crunch, little extra something into my salads. And then for my dressing today, my bestseller, I love telling people to use this Greek for their dressings. It's garlicky herby, it's got some dill, oregano, thyme, garlic, onion. So normally if I'm making Mediterranean style, I would go with lemon juice, but today with the flavor combinations, I'm actually just using a little bit of olive oil with some fresh lime juice. So I have about a 1/4 cup of olive oil with an entire juice of 1 lime. And then I'm going to use a little bit of salt. And then I'm going to add a couple of teaspoons of this Greek blend. mix that together.
I like that idea of using the lime. It is very margarita inspired.
Right? So I'm only going to do a little bit of this. See how it goes. All right, and that's it. I mean, simple as that. We have a lovely summer salad there. First thing.
That was amazing. So, now sunflower shoot came from A&H Urban Farm.
Yes, A&H.
And they have a couple other shoots available too.
So I actually have some water boiling over here, and I am going to actually boil the corn today. So normally if you buy these from the grocery store, you don't get them in the full husk like this. So all I did was you just kind of take it from the top and you pull it all the way down to get everything off. And then you don't even really need a knife. You can just snap in half like that to get 2 corn on the cob. So I'm just going to drop these into some boiling water for 10 minutes. And I'm going to get started on some bacon jam, which I'm really excited about.
That bacon jam sounds really good and really interesting. I think Kelsey was also using a local olive oil from Ladera, which is actually based in Krebs, Oklahoma. If you've had chalk beer or if you've been to the Italian restaurant down there, they have an amazing market.
So something that I also really like to tell people is I'm a registered dietitian by my education, but I'm not a fancy cook, and I didn't go to culinary school. So one of the big missions behind my spice line is that I wanted to lessen the barrier of intimidation to cooking. So the idea that you can take any of my spices and put it on basic things like vegetables, corn, different types of meats and seafoods, and have it taste like different cultures without even really trying. So I don't consider myself an expert in cooking. I just have a lot of practice. I've learned a lot of things in the process of becoming a decent cook. But I just don't want anybody to think, oh, I can't cook like that, because if I can do it, you can do it. So I also forgot to add some of this green onion to the salad, so I'm just going to top that with that. Beautiful.
I like the idea of the spice blend that takes all the guesswork out of it.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to set a timer for 10 minutes so I don't leave my corn in there for too long. All right. Okay, so while we wait for that corn, I'm going to start on this bacon jam. So, who doesn't love bacon? I don't know.
So I found out there's somebody in the audience that has used this rub before. Yeah, her name is Rebecca. So, yeah, come up here. Okay, she's not going to come up here. Okay, tell me the spice blend that you've used.
I've used the Greek seasoning.
Yeah?
I use it in a little salad with tomatoes, cucumbers, red onion, and then I put lime juice, olive oil, and a touch of red wine vinegar, salt and pepper, kind of let it marinate, and sometimes add fresh mint. And it's so good. Like, I even drink like the juice that's left over, and my husband and I fight over it.
That sounds amazing.
Okay, so I'm still kind of waiting for this pan to heat up, but all it's going to take is like 4 to 5 pieces of bacon, and I'm going to let it cook to where the bacon gets nice and crispy, but I'm going to leave the fat in there from the bacon. I'm going to put the bacon off to the side, and I'm going to cook down some onions in there. So while I kind of wait for that pan to heat up a little bit, I want to tell y'all my best kept secret in the kitchen. If you don't have super great knife skills like me, get you one of these. You can get it online. It just essentially has this fine dice little chopper situation. And then instead of having to worry about dicing up really small and perfect, you can just go down, go other side, and then I cut it down the middle, take off the edge, and then you put it in the center here, and bam, done. Saves you time and frustration, because none of my onion pieces are even when I try to chop them by hand.
It doesn't always make me cry. So.
Yeah, and you don't have to cry, too. Exactly. Yes, because you don't have to have a knife. And it comes with different attachments, too. I actually have an attachment for this that makes waffle fries, which is really fun. Yeah, so you can swap out attachments and do different things with it. I don't think it's on. I think they might have turned it off. Is this YouTube?
You know how it is when you're cooking? Sometimes you gotta troubleshoot.
Oh yeah, that's how I live.
So I love the idea that you're doing bison today. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so from a nutritional perspective, bison in general is going to be leaner. So we're looking at like 95-5 as far as the protein-fat ratio. And because it's local, grass-fed, grass-finished, it is higher in that protein content, lower in the fat. It's got higher omega-3s, which normally we think fish when we think omega-3s, but because they're grass-fed, grass-finished, they are higher in omega-3s as well as iron. So they are delicious. Contrary to popular belief, they're not gamey. So they are basically, you wouldn't really know the difference between a really lean beef and bison if you weren't really trained on that. So I love using bison. It's just so much more flavorful, I find.
I can't see out here.
I know. Okay. Oh, there we go. I heard a beep. There we go.
All right. So
Better.
the bacon came from somewhere over here.
AR Farms?
Yeah, it came from Free Farm, which is amazing because that way it's been really lovingly taken care of and it's gone through a really nice process. Rather than ship to China and then come back.
All right, we got some sizzle over here. Hopefully the smell of bacon will summon more bees from what we're cooking.
So this bacon looks amazing.
Oh yeah. Dang.
So what's probably your #1 selling spice rub at the market?
So definitely Greek is my #1, but also Texas rub during the summer months is right behind it because of the fact that people are wanting to grill. So my Texas rub is more peppery, smoky, which I think is why it's going to go so great in our bison burgers. So anything that you're looking to smoke, that is the one for you.
And I love how the farmers market, we have so many options available for local produce that's like really great in Oklahoma during the summertime. So I love that we're using a lot of things today that are locally grown right now, you know. It's just like at Christmas time when you have too many Christmas lights plugged into the extension cord.
There we go. Okay, so today for our sliders, we are actually using from Yui's Breads. She has a sweet potato bun. So it is still made with some flour, so it's not gluten-free. But what that sweet potato does is it just adds a little bit of sweetness to it. It adds a little bit more texture. And so I'm going to butter these up and kind of get that butter nice and melted on. And it's just going to go really well with our bacon jam and our bison burger. So I am pretty excited about this.
Everything she makes is amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to start making the bison patties while we are cooking up the other things.
Sorry, I got lost. I got trapped.
So if you've ever made burgers before, you've probably done the whole nine where you have like a binder, so you need some kind of egg and breadcrumbs to kind of soak up some of that juice. Today, with the bison, we're actually going to keep it super, super simple, and I'm literally just going to use the meat and some seasoning. So we don't need a binder, and that just makes it even easier to kind of whip it up. So I'm going to add gloves on. So today, because we're doing more sliders, I'm going to go more for like a golf ball sized little meatball to start with, and then I'm going to flatten them out. Okay. So we have about 2 pounds of meat here. So I don't really measure a lot of times, I just kind of go for it. So probably 2 to 3 tablespoons there. And I'm going to just go ahead and mix it right in. Before I get this hand all dirty too, I'm going to add some salt. So really, with my spices, I typically tell people to start with a tablespoon per pound of meat and go based on your taste preference. So because of the fact that there's no salt, sugar, fillers, dyes, anything like that, they're really concentrated spices, so a little goes a long way. So I'm kind of working it in there. I don't want to work it too much. And then I'm going to start to form some little patties. Go ahead and flip that bacon. So we're starting to see a lot of that fat come out of the bacon, but it's still not quite crispy enough yet. So really we want to be on that medium heat with this bacon because we want it to kind of slowly cook, because the slower it cooks, the more fat it'll pull out and the crispier it'll get without burning. So the idea is that we're actually going to pull the bacon off, cook some other things in there, chop the bacon up really nicely, and add it back into the jam. So I have about a golf-sized ball here, and whenever I go to smash it down, we actually want to have a little bit less in the center than on the side. So I'm kind of going to make like a thumbprint. I've never made thumbprint cookies before. That way, whenever it goes to cook, it won't puff up in the middle and form its own meatball essentially instead of being more of a patty.
I know, I was always so upset when I made burgers and I didn't understand why they were coming out like golf balls.
Yeah.
So I learned that trick.
Yes. It's easier to do it before you cook them because if you put it on the pan and start to press them down, then you'll lose a lot of that good juice and you might dry out your burger. That one's a little too big. I'll take a little off, re-roll it.
So I wonder if something else that might be good to make with the bison, if you get it from Benjamin Lee, is maybe some meatloaf.
Oh, absolutely.
And that Texas bread would be good in there too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So this idea with the corn, I'm actually going to whip some butter with my Egyptian blend and spread that on the corn. And that was something that I actually got from a local customer here at the farmers market when she stopped by my booth. That's what she said she did with the Egyptian, and I said I have to try that. So here we are. Tried it for the first time last night, and she was not wrong. That was delicious. I love learning from you guys. I learned just as much from you guys being creative with the spices. That bacon's starting to get almost there.
Oh yeah, we can smell it.
You know, I try not to be a judgmental person, but I judge people that don't finish their bacon when you go out to eat with them. All right, where can I start landing the bacon?
So we're going to pull out a couple of paper towels and you can just place them
Okay.
right there on the paper towel. Can anyone smell the bacon from where you're sitting? Just get one burner going at a time.
That's probably a week. So try this, see if that's higher rating. I think this one has a bit more power than that.
Geez, these burgers, I wouldn't think they'd need so much.
Yeah, trying that, see if that helps.
All right,
So I want to see a show of hands. Who grew up with their parents saving the bacon grease? Yeah. Anybody ever use it for face moisturizer? No? No. I'm kidding on that. That might clog your pores.
yeah.
No, but I love using the leftover bacon grease for, it's perfect for sauteing onions like we're going to do here.
So all I did there was I pulled out one of the corn on the cob just to see if it's soft. I just kind of poke at it and see if it's soft. That way, when we go to bite into it later, we're not losing teeth, you know? 4th of July plans do you guys have with your cooking? Are you guys grilling out? Anybody want to volunteer? Over
They're
here?
doing a shrimp boil over there.
Shrimp boil.
Yeah.
Yum. You should go get my Cajun blend for that.
What are you guys doing over there?
Oh. A blue apron meal.
Hey, that works. All right, we're getting almost ready for the onion time.
Yes.
What do you think? Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks great.
And the other thing I noticed about this bacon is it didn't pop and hurt me like other bacon usually does. So that means there's not a ton of water in it like commercial bacon has.
Just do one more. Okay.
So we're done with this back burner, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna turn that bad boy off.
Sounds great. So we're just gonna add all of these onions here. And these are gonna need to cook down quite a bit.
I don't know if you guys knew about the onion burgers, the Oklahoma invention from the Depression era.
Was that Tucker's onion?
Tucker's and the El Reno ones and whatnot. So basically it was a way to stretch out the portion of meat further by adding the grilled onions to it. So it truly is an Oklahoma food.
Wow.
And then these are the sweet onions from Acadian Farms.
Yes.
So Acadian Farms is over there. Those look amazing. If you haven't been by Acadian Farm, make sure to go talk to Rod. He's Cajun, and he will love to talk to you about his produce. He's a character.
So we got the bacon grease. I put a couple of onions in here. We're really letting those sizzle and cook down quite a bit. The only thing I'm going to add to this is 2 tablespoons of some brown sugar with a little bit of salt and pepper. And then I'm also going to add a local jam. So I really think that this recipe could work with so many different types of jam. Last night we used a peach jam to make it, but I also think it would be great with a blackberry jam, red pepper jam as well. But this one is from Organics, Heidi's Raspberry Jam, and it is USDA certified organic. So we kind of have a berry theme going on here with our blackberry salad, and then we will have that berry flavor coming through here. But mostly this is going to be that sweet, salty, savory, delicious jam. Goes perfect on top of those burgers. So while that's cooking down, I'm going to prep the buns. Just make sure that they are cut and buttered up. These look so good.
Where do you buy those?
These are Bui's, B-U-I'(S) breads. So good. I mean, they smell amazing.
She's right over there. She makes an amazing milk bread. That's crazy. It's so delicious. And these look right up that alley. What are we eating over here? Can I try some?
Yum. You guys see that color? It's like that orangey, sweet potato color. It looks so good.
Those are really good.
So I'm just kind of holding either side of this very gently, making sure there's enough space in between my hand here to chop it all the way down. Normally, when cutting breads, using a serrated knife is ideal, but this bread's cutting pretty nicely with this knife here. Yum. Smells like carbs. I love carbs. Okay, so these are starting to look good, but I'm definitely going to let them go just a little bit more. Gonna use our local butter here from Luma Springs Dairy. Oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever had local butter actually. I'm really excited about this.
And that came from Potato Farmers Market, I believe. So.
Oh my goodness.
That'd be so good on toast with orange marmalade and black coffee.
Oh my goodness, yes. This is really soft. Look at that. So I'm just going to add a little spread to each of these buns.
Do you want me to help you butter?
You can do the rest of these, and I'm going to do the butter, the whipped butter with the Egyptian spice. So you can grab that, and I will grab it. Okay, so for this whipped butter, I'm going to grab a whisk. I'm going to grab a little bit more butter than I need because I want to really work it. And then I'm going to grab that Egyptian blend. So this one, the main two ingredients are paprika and cumin, but it also has a little bit of cinnamon and cloves. So it's got a warm flavor to it. Not something that you would expect to put on corn, but because of that sweet flavor of the corn and that extra butter, it just adds a little something else to it that you don't get every day. So all I'm going to do is just sprinkle this butter with a little bit of this seasoning. And because they are salt-free, I'm going to add a little bit of salt as well.
Do you have recipes? I think you might have some recipes posted.
We're going to post them on Facebook.
Okay, and it's called Farmers Market Cooking Dems.
Yes.
Demos.
Yes. It just should be Scissortail Park Farmers Market.
Oh, I am so sorry.
So at first it's not really going to whip up until you kind of get it broken down, and then you're just really going to go for it. And then it might get stuck in there, you kind of got to pull it out. Whip it. Just a little bit more. Perfect. That's what I'm doing.
That's what she's going for.
Oh, we're good. Okay. So, all I did was take a little bit of that local butter with my Egyptian blend and whip it, just like that, so it kind of turns this like orange color. And I found this little funny guy. It's called Corn Dude. And I'm going to use it to dip into this butter and spread it on that corn. Isn't it cute? Okay, so next order of business with this jam. I'm going to add in my 2 tablespoons of brown sugar with salt and pepper, as well as my local raspberry jam. And now what we're going to see is it start to thicken up and really caramelize those onions with that little bit of extra sweetness. Really the most elaborate part of this whole meal is the jam itself, because the burgers are really easy to make, the buns are done, the corn is basically done, the salad's done. So really this is the thing that takes the longest, but it's the thing that makes the whole dish.
It looks like it's going to pack a real flavor punch in there. And I know the idea that blackberry sounds kind of odd, but that kind of reminds me of what you would have with like a charcuterie board. You know, you would have a little bit of meat, a little bit of cheese, and then a little bit of fruit on the charcuterie board. So it's not that much, it's not that crazy after all.
Just adds that extra sweetness. Really, a lot of this bacon and onion comes through.
It smells really good. So don't forget, we're going to be trying some of this.
So I'm going to get an extra cutting board to put underneath, just to get that fine chop here on this bacon. Also, at Scissortail Park, they do composting. So if you've noticed me throwing my food into a little bucket, they take the compost and give it back to the farmers. Is that what happens?
Use it at the park.
Use it at the park. Amazing. So really all I'm doing here is I'm putting some weight on that handle in the front, so that way I can kind of anchor it down. And you hear that crunch. I don't know if you guys can hear that crunch. Maybe I should have my microphone closer. ASMR bacon crunch. It's the best kind of ASMR. Whoa. So I really want to try and get this as finely chopped down as possible, because I'm just going to add it straight back into that jam. And that's really going to add that finishing touch of that crunch. It's going to help thicken it up. And then we're not wasting anything either.
No, and it's pretty much full circle with everything being cooked in the bacon grease.
Yes. Okay.
And I love the idea that you're doing the whipped butter with the spice rub. That'd be good for elote as well. If you wanted to have a Mexican street corn, you could do that with one of those spice blends.
So I'm probably going to let this cook down for like 1 more minute, and then I'm going to add that bacon, and then we're done. We'll cook those burgers up real quick.
So what's the craziest thing someone's had on a burger before?
Peanut butter.
Oh, I was gonna
Peanut
say
butter? That sounds good. It gives a little bit of umami flavor in there and some savoriness. Did you have smooth or crunchy on there?
Oh, crunchy all day.
Crunchy peanut butter. Okay. Anybody else had anything crazy on a burger? Chili?
Well, macaroni and chili.
Macaroni and chili. Or a chili mac burger.
I think it was like S&B burgers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. Cheese?
That's the craziest thing you've had on a burger?
What kind of cheese? Pepper jack sounds pretty good.
Blue cheese, that would be a little different on a burger.
It doesn't matter how old I get, I will always love American cheese on a burger. So you added the bacon in there.
So look how much thicker this looks now. So,
It's super shiny and glistening, and it has thickened up a lot like you said it would.
yeah, for a while it was really watery and it's since really thickened up. You could cook it for another minute, but I think it's pretty much done. What I find too is that the more that you let it sit, it'll thicken up as it cools off. Okay.
One time I went somewhere that had a pizza and they had bacon jam on it and it was delicious. So if you have leftover, that'd be a good use for it.
So I'm just gonna butter this pan up just a little bit for these burgers. Let that butter melt on there. By the way, here's our finished jam product.
That was amazing.
So that'll go on top. Just a tablespoon or two is all you need on one of these little sliders. So butter's already melted. So I'm just gonna add that bacon or that burger. So something about Bison is that because of the fact that it has more protein, it actually finishes a little bit faster than normal beef does. So cooks a little bit quicker. Cooks a little bit quicker. Whoa. Put a little bit more. Obviously, if you're at home too, you can throw these on the grill. And again, all we did was add a seasoning. I didn't do any binders, no eggs. Simple, because the Bison has a flavor by itself. So we really want to highlight that.
And these Bison sliders would be good to make for a party because you can make the patties ahead of time and then put them in the fridge, right?
Oh yeah.
Before you cook them.
Kind of going to scooch them around so they're not on top of each other.
And that thumb cut trick that you did is really doing the job.
Yes.
So we're making Bison burgers today with a little bit of blackberry bacon jam. We've also got a salad already prepped. Corn, blackberries, sunflower shoots, basil.
Yes.
This is Kelsey from Nourished Roots Spice Co.
Yes. So because of these are going to cook pretty quick, I don't really want to take my eye off of them for too long. Would you maybe want to come spread some butter on the corn? Okay.
I'm going to go to work.
Okay. So, I'm going to move this. Yep, so you take your little corn dude.
We're going to take the corn dude and rub corn with all the butter.
Yeah. Perfect. Exactly. Yeah. So really all she's doing is rubbing this butter right on that corn. If I had a grill out here, these are already boiled, but I would probably throw them back on the grill to give them that nice kind of charred flavor on the outside, especially after that butter's been put on. So this little thumbprint trick is really doing great. They're nice and flat. They didn't puff up while they were cooking. And then I kind of live and die by my food thermometer because I don't like getting sick. And I know a lot of other people don't like getting sick. So typically what I'm looking for is around 160 for medium, and these are done. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these on our little spread here so I can move on to the next batch. Gonna add a little bit more butter. Ooh, that's a hard one. She just asked me what my favorite summer veggies were. I would say I love the shishito peppers because I love spice. Hello, spice girl, you know. But yeah, if I'm doing some kind of veggie, I love different types of peppers in the summertime. I mean, probably the blackberries is one of my personal favorites, which, you know, obviously is fruit. Yes. A little bit of that Egyptian, and then we'll give you a little thing to it. See, easy. Really, it's only 3 ingredients because, well, technically 4. We'll add a little pinch of salt. It's literally just butter, salt, my Egyptian blend, and corn. Super easy 4th of July side dish. And a lot of people, if you bring that spice on that corn to your party, a lot of people will be like, what is this? I need this. My Egyptian spice, funny enough, has been one of my best sellers, especially from the exotic blends out of my line. And I think a lot of times it's just because it's intriguing. The smell of it is very familiar, but a lot of times people aren't familiar with Egyptian food, but yet when they smell it, they know that they can use it on a lot of great things. So I love hearing about what everybody's making with my Egyptian blend. I get all kinds of stuff, like the whipped in butter on corn. I've had people make like a meat sauce with it over rice. I've had people put it on salmon and different types of roasted vegetables. So really, the options are endless.
How do you come up with this spice idea?
Yeah, so my spice idea, I'm lucky enough to have traveled a lot in my young life, and I'm such a big foodie, but what I was noticing in my health coaching was that a lot of people were struggling with making healthy food taste good and have flavor. But I was always kind of making my own blends at home. I especially started with a Cajun blend. I would make a lot of Moroccan food and Mexican, probably once a week. And then from there, I just kind of decided to celebrate cultural cuisine and choose different cultures from Africa, Asia, the Caribbean, North America, to create a line that is completely salt-free, sugar-free, and just allows people to experiment with different cultures without feeling intimidated by that. So, yeah, thank you for that question. So since this pan is still kind of hot, I just turned it off, and I'm just going to let the butter kind of melt on it. I don't want to really toast these. I just want them to be a little bit warm. So I might just turn it on extremely low to kind of toast those buns up. And then really, we're done. Yeah, so you could definitely kind of spice these burgers up however you would normally want to spice a burger up. So we do have some fresh local tomatoes here that I can slice up. We also have some cheese that we can grate. But really, it's kind of up to you on what you want to do with your burger. But really, my favorite part is this bacon jam. You don't need condiments because of that. But the veggie part is up to you. We could add grilled jalapenos. Oh my goodness, that looks so good. Just like that.
You mentioned the shishito pepper earlier. That's one of my favorites too, because it can be grilled or it's super quick on the stove.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not spicy. Unless you're lucky and you get that 1 in 1,000, that might be hot. These are from Looney Farm, which is over there. And they're amazing. Carrie is wonderful. And these grow really well in Oklahoma.
Yes, they do.
So if you need a project for next summer, this would be a good one.
I'm just going to do a quick little slice of some of these tomatoes. Do you want to grate some cheese?
Sure. I'm gonna grate some Red Ridge Creamery cheese, it looks like. And they also make a really yummy ice cream as well that I've had.
What's your favorite flavor of their ice cream, Mara? What's your favorite flavor of the ice cream?
I think it's probably, if I remember right, because my brain cells are not working anymore, but I think it was caramel. It was amazing. And it comes in kind of a bigger than a Ben & Jerry's size, so like it's easier to make it last more than one sitting.
Anyone else here a chaotic cook? I feel like I'm a chaotic cook. But you know what? That's what makes it fun. Okay. Yes. Or you can slice. Yeah, slice. Yum. These tomatoes look amazing. So today we use the Benjamin Lee Bison to cook the Bison burgers, which is right over there, and they're actually running a special. Normally a pound of their ground beef is $12 and today it's $10. So that is something that you definitely want to hop on today, especially if you want to go home and make some burgers for your family. Wow, that's fast. So for tomatoes, again, the best thing to use is a serrated knife. Kind of helps get through the skin. Yeah, there you go. Oh, should not press that.
You know what I think is really cool about this is that I know people are intimidated by trying, you know, something a little bit interesting or new and things that's going to take a really long time. But we've really done all of this in about a matter of 30, 40 minutes. So.
And you have a beautiful, colorful spread, all local. And you're really supporting all of these local businesses too, and these hardworking local farmers. It's the most important time to be doing that after last year.
Absolutely.
Look at those tomatoes.
They're so juicy. So if you don't have a serrated knife, the best thing to do is kind of have that back and forth motion at the skin. If I just press down, it's all going to squirt out. So if I go back and forth like that, then it pierces the skin, and then it allows me to use the knife to go all the way through. Just like that.
For anyone that might have been joining us late, I'm going to show you the salad that Kelsey made in the beginning. So she used some of the local lettuces, blackberries. She made a dressing with lime and olive oil.
And the Greek blend.
And the Greek rub.
Yes. Okay. Who wants to eat? Woo!
Yeah? So, all right, I'm going to say thank you, Kelsey, so much for this amazing spread you've made today. So,
Thank you.
tell us where we can find you.
Yes, so we are here at Scissortail Park Farmers Market every Saturday, 9 to 1, back in that orange tent by Uptown Jerky. And we have 12 different spice blends. You can come smell all of them, get a feel for, you can taste some of them here as well. But other than that, you can find me at nourishedrootsco.com or on Instagram at Nourished Roots Spice Company. On my website, we have free recipes that go with all of my blends because, again, the whole mission behind my line is to break that barrier of intimidation for cooking. So I want you to go home and feel confident that you can use those blends and try some new things. Everything's super simple. But yeah, I really enjoy doing this for you guys. Thank you so much. And then if you have any questions.
Thank you guys for coming. I want to thank Campbell Young for doing the sound, Dennis Spielman for doing video today, and Scissortail Farmers Market, Scissortail Park Foundation. Thank you all so much.
Ow, ow.